What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Early Edge NFL Kickoff Show, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Will Brinson here, along with Alex Selsick, a.k.a. Propstarz, Danny Brasco, and Kens Brooks, to give you all of your best bets and to stay on a heater, I might add, for Monday night for Giants and Steelers, a game that, suddenly has a lot of intrigue to it, thanks to the Steelers being good, Russell Wilson taking over, and Danny Dimes' last stand-ish, maybe. Apparently he's not on a short leash, according to reports. What's up, folks? Ken's really the only one not muted, so I'll go to you first.
Feeling pretty good. We had a really good night last night. Cashed our model props, cashed a couple model anytime touchdowns as well. So feeling good, ready to keep riding that energy.
I know I retweeted Sia's tweet from last night after CD Lamb hit, but I think he is on a heater right now on SportsLine. Go to sportsline.com/join. Use promo code WINNERS and get 60% off an annual subscription. I mean, I'm not, no disrespect to anyone else here, because probably you're annihilating, Danny killing it, Ken's killing it there too, but it's worth it alone for Sia's picks. The man's on like a 9-0 tear, including Cedric Tillman ladders, which is something I thought I'd say before the season. How you boys doing?
Good, man. I'm excited to see my Giants in prime time again. Often a fade machine, but might be a surprisingly competitive game tonight. I don't know. A lot of people looking Steelers blowout and maybe some takes there, but I'm not sure if I quite believe in Russell Wilson yet. So I'm interested to see how this fares in the second week on the new QB experiment. So I agree. Some surprising intrigue to this game that I don't necessarily think is just a runaway.
I am a massive Malik Neighbors truther. Not that he needs the support anymore, but I've long believed Malik Neighbors may be the best wide receiver prospect I've ever seen. Certainly making a case for one of the all-time great rookie seasons by a wide receiver. So he's must-watch TV anytime he's playing football, so can't wait to see Malik Neighbors show out in prime time. Also seeing the reclamation project that is Russell Wilson as well. This Steelers team, just they overachieve year after year after year. I believe that this team was not good at all. I was faded their season-long win total, thought it was a really sharp look, but Mike Tomlin continues to make lemonade out of lemons or whatever, man. The guy is such a good coach, just gets the most out of these rosters. Really impressive. The defense is good. I still think that they're potentially a regression candidate, but certainly can't argue with the results thus far.
Yeah, I think I've actually been pretty accurate in a lot of my, at least through 8 weeks or whatever, almost 8 weeks, like my preseason predictions, like this team will be good. This, here's where this team will stand. Unfortunately, the two headlines that really stood out to people on Instagram were me fading the Eagles. I think they go 9-7, still possible, and fading the crap out of the Steelers, saying they go 6-11, very unlikely at this point. And Steelers fans are like, I have my unread messages on Instagram are outrageously long, and it is what it is. Also, we'd be remiss if we didn't point out, Danny, you also have your New York Yankees playing this evening. I'll be honest, there is very little. And I don't like the Dodgers. I effing hate the Yankees. No offense. The Yankees in North Carolina, the two sports teams I'll always root against. But I am a Juan Soto fan, and I am a Giancarlo Mike Stanton fan. Have I told the story about Mike Stanton? Really? Have I told that story? I won't tell
it. But you might want to avoid the state of Pennsylvania at least until post-January.
I do anyway. I actually saw. So
Ouch.
No, sorry.
He's playing like Mike Stanton right now. Giancarlo is a different guy. Mike is the one who's hitting these bombs.
So I'll tell this very quickly, but it was the summer of it's like 2008 or 2009. You can look at the stats on Baseball Reference. My brother and I lived in Greensboro together and had season tickets to the Greensboro Grasshoppers. The Marlins, who's their big league team, had just signed this 19-year-old kid named Mike Stanton. And we got to see him every night. The right field fence is like 275. He hit 36 homers in 115 games or something silly like that. It was just moonshot after moonshot after moonshot. I've seen Steph Curry play in college and like in person in Davidson. I've like it's a top 5. I've played basketball with LeBron James. It's like a top 5 like sporting like thing for me. Watching Mike Stanton just rocket moonshots after like moonshot after moonshot.
Did I just hear you play basketball with LeBron James?
Yeah, I'll tell that story later. It's too long.
I'm like, did I hear that right? Yeah. We'll have to
expand on that momentarily.
I tried to take a charge and he jumped over me and dunked on me. It was
I
incredible.
respect you for standing in the lane. That is incredible. You have my respect for life just for that alone.
There was a giant puddle of pee below my feet after he came charging at me.
Was this like high school or?
It was at his high school gym. It was a Nike event. He was still with the Cavs, hadn't made the jump to the Heat yet, and so I mean he was a world-renowned superstar, but it was not like like he wouldn't do that now. We basically doing like 5-on-5 media events for the release of his new shoe, and he walked up to it was just closest to wherever he was. It was like a consolation game, like our team had lost, and he's like, "Yeah, let me get in on this," and we were like, "Oh!" And so I figured, what the hell? I'm back here. I'll take a charge. Screw it. All right. Let's get to Giants and Steelers. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that in there and distract you even further. The game is Steelers -6 at home. Danger Russ Wilson. NC State's Russell Wilson showed up on last week against the Jets. And Duke's Danny Dimes catching 6 on the road here with a total of 36.5. Danny, are you just going to moneyline parlay Giants and Yankees here? What's the move?
Woo! I think New York
on the anti-Giants train. I mean,
I know. I think New York sports roll tonight, man. I think the Yankees, minus Clark Schmidt -155. I think that says everything you need to know right there for a start like him. But we're talking Giants here, and you're not normally going to see me back this Jason Sehorn and Tiki Barber signed hat behind me. But tonight, I think it's worth a bet. I just can't get to the Steelers being -6 favorites and -280 on the money line. First of all, here come the Halloween spooky heebie-jeebies. 98% of the public betting handle is on the Steelers money line. Over 85% of the bets are on Steelers -6. And the public has been winning the last few weeks. So I've been waiting for the sharp play to hit, Brinson, and I take the Cowboys last night and they burn me, and I've done so on other times in the show. I'm not going to be afraid to stand in front of the ugly team and do it. Here's really what I believe more than anything. I'm not believing in that performance from Russell Wilson, and I still don't believe in the decision to switch to him. I know he gives them a downfield passing threat, but that Jets defense played uncharacteristically bad in that game. Their secondary was rattled with injuries. Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed were hurt in that game, and the other guys were just getting straight up beat, like Ashton Davis and the safeties. They played a terrible game. Michael Carter, slot corner, was out too, so that wasn't the Jets, and also the Jets just find new ways to lose every week. That being said, so do the Giants, but I actually think their defensive line and the play at the line of scrimmage can keep them in the game this year. This week, Dexter Lawrence is back. Dexter Lawrence is an elite defensive tackle. Zach Frazier, an elite center for the Steelers, remains out, and that edge at the line could create a huge impact. I know the Giants have been so soft against the run. I think they average a league high in yards per carry on attempt, but I believe that Dexter Lawrence will change that. They're going to stack the box. They're going to look, they're going to stack the box and see if they can finally stop that. Like I talked about the Cowboys stepping up and playing a little harder, right? Their run defense was slightly better last night. It didn't get us the win and pushed on the spread, but I think that they can stand up and play lower than the bottom here. Other than Dexter Lawrence being back, their line is already getting amazing QB pressure. And I think they give Russell Wilson some Halloween scaries tonight. He's going to be seeing ghosts out there with Brian Burns coming after him. So look for that Giants secondary to shore up too. Andrew Phillips, Tyler Nubin, the young guys are playing really well. I think they make it ugly, stay in the game. I'm taking the spread, Brinson, and I'm sprinkling half unit on the +225 money line with everyone and their mother on Steelers. Give me the dog. New York sports roll tonight. Go Giants, go Yankees.
Somebody pointed out in the chat, one, you can get a 8-1 parlay on Giants, Yankees, Knicks if you're a true Big Apple honk. Two, whoever dentist is in the chat, you're going to get yanked like a cavity, bro, if you keep it up. Try to act like Proppy could get exposed, my man. Proppy's an ATM here, bro. Like, what are you doing? He's like, you missed on Brock Bowers. Like, get a grip, pal.
By the hook. By the hook.
I will one other very quick story. A buddy of mine, Trent Penix, played football at NC State. He also played at Sanderson in Raleigh, and he was a running back and quarterback for Sanderson, I believe, in high school. he played against Dexter Lawrence in high school, and said he said, and like everybody in North Carolina knows Dexter Lawrence was the baddest, one of the 3 or 4 best prospects ever to come out of the state. He was a man child in high school, is a man child now. So yeah, Dexter Lawrence definitely changes things. I'm going to zig a little bit here. I think the under is going to be a really popular play here, and I know it's a primetime under. I'm not fading your move here, Danny. I just think we might see a few more points, and I think that we could potentially get there in a similar fashion to the way that we got there last night with the over. A much lower total, of course. Steelers get a lead, running the football a bunch, defense eases up. Now, granted, they'll still pin their ears back, but you'll see same sort of thing, right? I mean, look, Dak ain't playing much better than Danny Dimes these days, if we're being honest. And you got CeeDee Lamb, who is one of the 5 best wide receivers in football. Guess what? So is Malik Neighbors. I mean, this rookie wide receiver class is ridiculous. Like Neighbors, like Marvin Harrison might be the 4th best prospect, like the 4th best receiver in this class. It's insane. Ladd McConkey goes off yesterday. This rookie wide receiver class is bananas. And I would point out that I believe because of isn't this Malik Neighbors' first primetime game? Do you remember what happened the last time a Giants rookie phenom first-round pick wide receiver showed up on Monday Night Football with some crappy quarterback play and low expectations for the game itself? Odell Beckham goes back skies and makes the catch. So I think Neighbors is going to have a big game here regardless of game script. Thinking even my dad is playing me in fantasy. He has Neighbors on his other team, and I have him in our head-to-head. He's like, you think Neighbors could just go for 8 tonight? I'm like, nah, Dad. He's going to have 8 catches minimum and go ham. Just take the L against me. It's over. So, yeah, I'm on the over here because I think there's multiple ways to get there. Giants surprise, score early, maybe flip the field with a defensive score or something like a turnover when Russ doesn't start out hot. And then Pittsburgh's forced to throw a little bit more. They clearly are willing to go downfield to George Pickens more often now than they were with Justin Fields. Freiermuth more involved. We saw Darnell Washington get involved. The offense is just better with Russ. In fact, we'll get to inactives in a second, but Justin Fields is inactive tonight. They're making a statement here. He's inactive. He's the emergency 3rd quarterback. They're saying this is Russ's team, and we're going to let the offense flow through Russ. And so I think we see maybe a little more not up-tempo, but a little more scoring than people expect. 36.5 is a low total. We can clear that fairly easily. Proppy, anything on the side or total this evening for you?
I think it's a fascinating matchup. On one hand, you have a Pittsburgh defense that's clearly the strength, I think, of their football team. The Giants without Andrew Thomas, their left tackle, certainly their best offensive lineman. We've seen this Pittsburgh pass rush really going to pin their ears back without Andrew Thomas on the field. Daniel Jones has definitely been susceptible to pressure. That leads me to think that we could see some looks for Wan'Dale Robinson, considering he has one of the most shallow A dots of any wide receiver in the NFL. Primarily works out of the slot. This Pittsburgh defense, as a result of the pass rush, are a slot funnel. So a lot of targets to the opposing slot wide receivers. And we know Wan'Dale Robinson has a big target share in this offense, regardless if Malik Neighbors is in or not. So I do expect also, if we look at the path of least resistance, there are significantly stronger run defense than pass defense. So I do think Daniel Jones is going to air it out. He's got a low total, 188 yards. I like the over there personally. So I think we're going to see Wan'Dale and certainly Malik get involved in the game plan. I agree this is going to be Malik Neighbors' first primetime event. In my opinion, he's already a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, destined for just amazing things. So he's going to show out, highly motivated in this spot. No one can guard him or contain him. Doesn't matter who's throwing him the football either. So love Malik Neighbors tonight as well. Looking at this Pittsburgh offense, I think they're going to be able to move the ball, at least on the ground, against this Giants defense. The Giants definitely have a very good front 4 and pass rush. You mitigate that pass rush by running the football, and that happens to coincide with Jaylen Warren looking healthy and explosive, which he was an exceptional running back last year. So I agree. I think offense could be sneaky tonight, and I think we're going to see more offense than anticipated. I like the over. I think both teams will be able to move the football throughout the game.
We've got Jared in the chat, not necessarily need a shirtless avatar, but that's fine. You do you. Steelers money line completes my 6-leg parlay. Love it. We mentioned this last night. Look, I mean, I don't know how much you put on it. I don't know what your bankroll is. I don't know what the payout is, but you definitely should have had something on either the Giants +6 as a way to hit the window or the Giants money line, at least your initial bet, I would say there, because it's a primetime game. The Steelers are a good team, but the Giants can absolutely stay in this game, in my opinion. So just worth noting there.
Sorry, I was just going to mention that, it's a perfect hedge spot there. You can even middle it. Giants +6 and Steelers money line can hit, so you can be a wealthy man at the end of the night, but perfect with the dog here and as the last leg to hedge against. And I should mention, a lot of people in the chat were talking about how the Giants have scored 3 and 7 respectively in their last 2 games. That was without Neighbors. He is clearly their best offensive weapon. I totally agree with what the guys are saying here about him. I think he has an immediate impact on this Giants offense. And don't forget, Daniel Jones is a fade machine at home. As a home underdog, often not able to cover the number, but on the road as an underdog for his career, 18-9 against the spread. The Steelers, Mike Tomlin, rah-rah spot, right? Motivation. Tomlin as a dog, we know what he does. As a favorite of more than a field goal, 57-73 against the spread for his career. So the trends favor the Giants.
Worth noting, I put that up from Nick, who said Tomlin 20-3 at home on Monday Night Football. The Steelers haven't lost on Monday Night Football since 92.
Wow.
Like, I mean, raise your hand if you were born in 92. I mean, I'm not sure it's everybody. That's for sure, right? Nope. Okay, no, it's not Ken's. Probably checking his driver's license right now to see what year he was born in. I think I was watching I was at Bobby Hurley basketball camp the last time the Steelers lost at home on Monday Night Football. Ken's, what is the model like for this? Also, what is on your trucker hat here?
This one?
This one says
just cover.
That's good. That's good. The one you're wearing, I can't see it, but it looks like it might be some indie Athens bands or just Have a Nice Day or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's just a good old. This is from Athens. Not any specific crazy. Yeah. Also, just didn't think it was.
I'm a personal fan of Athens music myself.
Yeah, great music town.
Anyway, model picks. Sorry.
Anyway, all right. So we actually, for once, have some pretty solid value on a side and total here. Do like Pittsburgh to cover. Most of that stemming from their team total, them going over that of 21.5. If you rather play the team total, I think that's a great play too, instead of the spread here. But I think with Russell Wilson specifically, knowing that he has the threat of the deep ball, is like Danny was saying, they can stack the box, they can try to stop the run. And once they just have, they soften up that pass rush just a little bit, and that's when we just see him launch it through the air. So I think it will be a very good a recipe, if you will, of a lot of running and then just 1 or 2, bombs to Pickens down the field. So I think because of Russell Wilson having that threat, that's why we like them to go over their team total. And the Giants run D just allowing 6 yards per carry on the road specifically. So that's just not a place you want to be here. Going into Pittsburgh, which everyone's talking about in the chat, just the trends that they have, especially in primetime football. Hard to back this team. I'd feel like, no offense, Danny, I feel like more of an idiot, morally backing the Giants and then it not working out than thinking that Pittsburgh could cover this spread. You know what I mean? Bets specifically would make you more frustrated. This is a wrong side I can live with. You know what I mean?
I don't know. This is a moral quandary.
When I'm trying to fade 98% of the money, this is the life I lead, right? I'm either going to look really smart or really dumb. So if you're backing the Giants, you're going to have some bravery. But Ken's, I can't disagree with any of the points you make.
I'll just, if I'm being dragged for looking like I'm 50, I'll throw it up there. That's fine. 50? Come on, man. At least 45.
And Luke Kang, I love it.
Yeah, Luke. Yeah, exactly. Jay Kane says that. All right, let's get to our inactives here. Nada Dewey. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Dory Jackson out. Tommy DeVito out for the Giants. The Giants can't win with no Tommy DeVito. CJ Henderson, Cordarrelle Patterson, actually kind of a surprising inactive. He was on the first touchdown list at 30-1. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Zach Frazier's still out. Big deal there on the line, although his backup performed very well last week. And then Justin Fields, the third quarterback, nothing entirely shocking like we've had recently in primetime games. To the props.
I just wanted to mention Jermaine Illuminor is actually off the injured list, and that actually could be significant for the Giants on the offensive line, just to shore them up as much as they can.
Yeah, it's a great call.
Yeah, Watt and Highsmith are coming, so they need everyone they can get.
One of the tricky ththings about this show is that we may not see the inactives until they actually come out, and you're like, oh wait, what the yeah, good call though on Luminor. The proppy, you've got a Steelers prop that I like a lot here, given the snap count and the usage for their backup.
I do indeed, yeah. Backup who I believe is honestly better than the starter, and that's the running back. I'm talking about Jaylen Warren of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going over 51.5 combined rushing and receiving yards for Warren. This is ticked up all day. Less than 24 hours ago, this number was 47.5. But I was very encouraged last week by Jaylen Warren. Looked very explosive and, more importantly, healthy in this Pittsburgh offense. Last season, Jaylen Warren was a significantly better running back than Najee Harris. Was more explosive. Basically, every efficiency metric he graded out in the top 5. Not only was he better than Najee Harris, he graded out as one of the top running backs in the NFL. Certainly earned more usage and work as the season progressed. The more dynamic player, more explosive, breakaway yardage. Definitely offered more in the passing game as well. Better route runner. And he was used more on third downs. Then coming into the year, a lot of people, truthers, thought that would carry over to the season, but he got hurt in training camp and was not able to get healthy early in the season. Mike Tomlin finally saw enough, shut him down, but he is back, finally healthy, looked very good last week, handling double-digit touches. So I expect that to carry over again tonight. I like the combination line because of his impact as a receiver. It hasn't shown up this year, but certainly if you've watched Jaylen Warren, you know he's a very good pass-catching running back. No Cordell Patterson. We know Arthur Smith loves to deploy him as a receiver out of the backfield. So I expect a lot of usage in the short area passing game for Jaylen Warren. I also like this because this insulates him from game script as well. There are scenarios where Pittsburgh's playing from behind, and in that scenario, Jaylen Warren will get used as a receiver. Plus, he's just a very good receiving back, so which is why I'm choosing to take the combination line here. He's capable of getting this in 1 or 2 big chunk plays. I think he's going to earn at least 40 to 45% of the running back touches in this game. I think the Giants, while they might have some big plays with Malik Neighbors, they'll have difficulty sustaining drives, in my opinion, against this Pittsburgh defense. So I look for Jaylen Warren to get 12 to 14 touches, and I think he goes over 51.5 combined rushing and receiving yards. Didn't put this out there, but I also do love Malik Neighbors. If you watch HQ prior to this, I did give that out as well. I just anticipate Malik Neighbors having a big game on primetime. We're getting a discount here. This Pittsburgh defense, way more vulnerable through the air than they are against the rush as well. I also mentioned Danny Dimes at 188 passing yards. I like the over there as a result. Wan'Dale Robinson, I expect to be involved in the passing attack as a result of this Pittsburgh pass rush, which is certainly ferocious. So Malik Neighbors over Jaylen Warren over combo line.
And if you're going to take
Neighbors over, what number did you get for receiving yards?
68.5 was what I would, or at least I last saw.
Nice.
I'm betting it as we speak. I love it.
Yeah, I think Neighbors, anything over 75 plus is fine. And we're talking about a dude in Neighbors. He's their guy. They're going to run the offense through him. Again, as probably said, Pittsburgh vulnerable to the pass more so than the run. Very good defense, but there's a really good chance that the Giants are trailing at some point here, and they force feed this guy targets. It is he is the focal point of their offense. And Wan'Dale Robinson, if you're going to bet him, bet receptions, not receiving yards, because he's going to catch 10 for 12 yards. But Neighbors, I might slam Neighbors captain on DFS tonight. Honestly, I don't think I'm that scared of it. By the way, if you're watching on X.com, which feel like if I'd said that on air 3 years ago, I would have been put in jail or like fired from my job. You watch it on X.com. Like if you are, come to YouTube, youtube.com/sportsline, and you can join the chat and hang out. Ken's is always in the chat. I appreciate that. Ken's is like answering questions in the chat. I try to, but I'm not technologically.
It's a Gen Z thing. I'll take care of the multitask technology over here. You just stick to your
Boomer. I'm actually technically a millennial, but I don't feel. Tried that one.
Spoken like a true boomer.
The bots are out tonight. Spoken like a true boomer. I definitely identify closer to boomer. I'm of the weird generation where it's like we don't want to be millennial, but we don't want to be boomers. So like most people just end up calling us boomers. Anywho, for my props, I am on Najee Harris anytime touchdown plus 115. Here's the logic. Even with Dexter Lawrence in there, even with the Giants loading up the box, as Danny pointed out, they're going to get down to the goal line at some point, and they are going to pound it with Najee. I think that he's just going to see, in my opinion, somewhere between 2 and 5 carries inside the 5-yard line tonight. He's their bell cow. They believe he's a bruiser who can do it. If it's third and short, maybe they go Jalen Warren, play action with Russ, whatever. But that Najee's going to get his carries down at the goal line. So I like Najee Harris anytime touchdown. I also have, and this is a prop parlay, and I have another parlay coming, but Malik Neighbors over 5.5 receptions at MGM. At the time I put this on in the rundown, 5.5 was minus 155, and I don't feel good giving that out. So I went with Malik Neighbors over 5.5 receptions, parlayed with Malik Neighbors to get 50 receiving yards, and that's minus 120. Just one. I mean, like if he gets 5, if he gets 6, he's getting 50 yards. Like that's just the end all. So instead of betting the over on receptions and paying that hefty juice, just combo it with like a lower receiving total. If I'll eat my hat, and I hate this will backfire on me, I'm sure. If Malik Neighbors catches 6 balls and stays under 50 yards, not if he doesn't do both, just if he catches 6 passes and has less than 50 receiving yards, I will saute this hat and eat it on the next live stream. Okay, that's just not happening.
Agreed.
We got to hold you to that.
I really like this hat, so I'll saute a hat. Okay, like a different. I have hats I don't like.
His trucker hat.
Yeah.
I don't want to witness that.
There's actually a guy on Twitter. He's like, you said this is a few years ago. He's like, you said the Vikings will have a better record than the Raiders. If that happens, I'll eat this tweet. Like, dude never came back and ate the tweet. I mean, like, come on, man. Like, you're gonna say you're gonna print out a tweet and eat it? You gotta own up to that. Danny, what do you have from a prop perspective tonight?
So I actually missed one play I have on the total. I can talk about that here, but I do like Proppy's look on Malik Neighbors. If I'm going to bet anything, it's that. Yeah, we know the target share he's going to get tonight. It's got to be Neighbors. It's got to be Leak in prime time. Jeff and I continue to duel on New York sports. He's the number one New York hater. Jeff is hilarious. I don't care how much he hates New York. I love Jeff. I'll
buy a Yankees hat and saute it. How about that?
Like I always tell Jeff, your tears are our fuel. We love your hatred. So we that's what we thrive off of. Yanks are not done. In any case, I actually am going the first half under 18.5. Brinson, I agree. We could see some second half scoring. A lot of these primetime unders as of late that I've been on just are ruined in silly ways, and the public cashes their over tickets. And so be it, right? That's what happens in a more variant kind of scoring environment, especially with the NFL this year, starting on the 30-yard line. Mike McClure talks about this all the time. 2 first downs, you're in field goal range, right? So we have seen some of those not come through for that reason. So I'm going first half under because I don't think these offenses get off to a fast start. I just think that the pressure from the defensive lines, the war at the line of scrimmage, the Steelers looking to pound the rock and expose the Giants' weak run defense, all of that is going to chew up clock and create a lower scoring first half, if nothing else. So I'm going under 18.5 in the first half.
Kins, what do we have from a model prop perspective this evening?
We got one that I really like. Yeah, I'm going with your boy Harris here. I like him to go over his rushing yards. I don't think he's going to crack 100 again necessarily like the past 2 weeks, but I certainly think he's in store to go over this number. We have him projected for 84. But I forgot to mention in the other graphic about them covering, I just think the Steelers will control the time of possession for a lot of this game. And I think a lot of that has to do with staying on the ground, with feeding guys like Harris and Warren, both of them really combined. But I just do think he still will see a lot of action. I've talked about the Giants rush defense, obviously one of the weaker points of them. And I just think Russell Wilson's deep ball will prevent them from having 8 defenders in the box, if not the whole night, at least at some points of the night. So I just think there will be some advantages for him here. And again, you look at his rush attempt line, which is at 15.5. We have him for 17 rush attempts. So obviously we think he goes over that, but 15 in this line, that's assuming he averages 4 yards per carry. Like, this is a guy who's had 208 yards on 35 carries the past 2 weeks. Like, that math doesn't math to me. I think he'll average more than 4 yards a carry tonight. So I don't think he's cracking 100, but I do think 62.5 is pretty low for a game like this.
Real quick, by the way, on Najee too. This is from our colleague Jacob Gibbs, who does who does CBS Fantasy and Fantasy Football Today, like deep dive show, which I highly recommend. Stat Monster. If you don't follow at JA_Gibbs_23, which is not easy to tell you to go follow, but nevertheless, if you don't follow him, you're missing out. He has like just gobs of stats. This one following last week blew me away. Percentage of rushes coming versus stacked boxes for Najee Harris in 2024, with Justin Fields at quarterback 20%, with Russell Wilson at quarterback 5%. And percentage of Harris rushes coming versus light boxes, with Fields at quarterback 29%, with Russ 52%. In other words, what Mike Tomlin told the Sunday Night Football broadcast, and Chris Collinsworth used it on the broadcast, he said, we know Justin Fields' running ability will mitigate, people's ability to slow down our running game. But we think Russ's deep ball ability, which Ken's referenced, might very well be more effective in allowing Najee to run against lighter boxes. And it showed up immediately against the Jets. I think we probably see it again tonight because if Russ can, George Pickens is a monster. If you leave George Pickens alone in one-on-one coverage with Russ's deep ball, it's a problem. And so I do think that this is look, Mike Tomlin's a great coach. Calculated gamble paid off. Somebody else have you had something to add probably on that?
Small sample with Russ at quarterback.
I was going to say one game sample size. But no.
I mean, what were the Jets could have done something. They could have tried to stop Najee. They couldn't do it. All right.
Jets
Let's
have
get
for
to
too many weeks in a row now. So yeah,
the Jets are just Imagine being a Jets fan. Imagine being a Jets fan.
I feel somehow better as a Giants fan. Somehow.
Yeah,
less pressure on you, Danny. There's less pressure. No one's expecting too much from you. The
Giants have 2 titles. The Jets last title was when I was -8.
And you have Malik.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. All right, Kens, anytime touchdown scorers per the SportsLine model. What do we like?
I mean, bet on Malik Neighbors and bet on George Pickens at plus money on both. I have a very hard time believing we don't see either of them get in the end zone. I mean, we've talked about Neighbors enough, but just to get both of them at that price just feels like you got to take both. And Neighbors specifically, he's had 3 touchdowns that were all on the road. But then I look at Russell Wilson, and he had a touchdown in his debut, and I understand we're looking at a small sample size. But again, I think he might be trying to prove that the team doesn't just completely lose their run ability when they lose Justin Fields. Now, obviously, I don't think he's rushing for 50 yards when it comes to the end zone. I do think it's a comfortable position for him to be the one to take it in. So even just looking at his past 30 games, he accounts for 16% of the team's rushes, but 44% of the team's rushing touchdowns. So you can see just immediately when you hit that red zone, it becomes more likely that he's going to use his legs. So at that price, still some pretty solid value.
All right. Sorry, we should have done some quick chat props. Brinson, I went to the Monday show with Larry. I couldn't find an early age logo, so I just paused it at 0. It could, if I hadn't actually taken my time, it could very well be Sia's face in the background, which would be even funnier, I think, somehow.
Everyone's always
our man Wu-Tang,
so we should put him in.
I'll hit play and see will pop up. My man Wu-Tang Forever cashed $2,500 parlay of $5 last night with George Kittle. Let's go. Says Pat Fryermuth anytime touchdown plus 250. Last touchdown is actually, I like Jalen Warren for last touchdown, like as somebody who's like, carrying the ball after Najee's gotten his. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm not going to dispute Pat Fryermuth on National Touchdown Weekend. Peter Wyatt trolling Danny here. Judge 3Ks is 10.
Dude, he's got to find the plate, man. He looks lost in these at bats. We got Walker Buehler tonight. He's back in the Bronx. I think Judge steps up tonight. Actually, I think Soto has a game and Judge has a game. But yeah, he is whiffing at curveballs that are down Broadway hangers. So he's got to find something tonight.
I saw some memes where it's like him standing there, like not holding it like an invisible bat. It's bad out there in the streets for Aaron Judge. Russell Wilson under 16.5 rushing yards, minus 115. Kens, our rushing quarterback yardage guru. Your thoughts?
Let's take a look. We have him projected for 23 yards on 4.6 rush attempts. I'm not here to tell you that I would take the over, but I certainly wouldn't bet the under based off that. I think there's some like he's trying to prove, like, you know what, I got something to prove here. I'm going to use my legs. We don't just lose the running threat when we lose Justin Fields. Like, I think I need to wait another game or two before I get on the Russell Wilson rushing yard train.
I think just real quick on the Russ thing, like, one, he very clearly was a little concerned about the calf. He's put the heater on it last week. He's another week removed. He's more comfortable. We mentioned Zach Frazier out. Dexter Lawrence can get in there quick, and if he does, Russ might have to take off. And if the Giants are playing man coverage down there, Russ could see some lanes and can end up rushing. But I mean, Gipper's a sharp guy. I don't think Russ. Yeah, and you're probably. You might get the kneel downs here as well. Neighbors over 69.5 receiving yards, as we mentioned. Proppy loves it. Hammer that away. Jalen Warren over 13.5 receiving yards. Van Hefferson under 12.5 longest catch. It is hit every game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Who are we to tell you to stop that?
Yeah, I mean, Van Jefferson's either going to catch one pass for 15 yards and burn you, or he's probably going to catch nothing and not burn you.
And I kind of like the idea of in the running back receiving props when you have a good defensive line against an offensive line with some injuries. If pressure collapses, you got to check down. Proppy likes Warren in the combo line. I think he can go over the low receiving yards total too. Like you said, that you might need one or two looks for that one. So I like Jalen Warren receiving yards. That's a good look, I think.
Yeah, and we saw Russell throw some really nice passes last week to short yardage stuff, including to Darnell Washington, who caught several early passes. Jeff asked Kens, Darnell Washington over 1.5 receptions is plus 160. Have you ever seen such a preposterous line for this Bulldog? I mean, his over under for miles per hour isn't like 120, so he's probably,
All right. Yeah. I plead the fifth there. So when Washington first got in the league, like, I was so pumped and just like begging to take any type of prop for him because I loved him. Clearly, like, he ended up, being mostly a blocking tight end. I don't want to over exaggerate to what happened last week, because if you look literally past last week, like, he's still getting a reception a game. I would think the better value here is the yards. The yards are set at 7.5, I believe. I think you're going to find 6.5 some places. I guess at plus 160, it is worth it. If it was any lower, I would say no, but I'm not opposed here. I feel very indifferent about this. I spent too much time on Darnell Washington in the past like 2 seasons. So
I think one of the things is, were those early catches last week for Darnell part of getting Russ easy throws, and will those come back this week? And we don't know the answer. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to you bet this. He gets one early and you cash out and just take your money and run. Probably you put your hand up. I didn't know if that was a Warren related or.
It was Warren related. I just also thought it was worth mentioning that Russell Wilson has one of the highest running back target rates of any quarterback in NFL history. Actually, he targets his running backs literally as much as any quarterback has in NFL history. He checks down with them, or he uses them as first reads quite often. So. I do,
which is why Sean Payton thought it was going to work last year, because Sean Payton loves throwing to the running backs. CThat says, who apparently has a Christian McCaffrey prop as his avatar. G-Man going to force Wilson to throw. Warren, who I like, 3 catches plus 136. Yeah, Warren's a good ladder. Like you get a Giants lead early, and you get some dump offs to Warren, and you could see that happen for sure. Danny Dimes over 19.5 completions or over 193.5 passing yards. Proppy answer that. Go over the passing yards. And Jeff says Yankees come back to win. I will buy him a bottle of whatever flavor of Mad Dog 2020 he wants.
I didn't even know what that was. I just looked it up. It just looks like some absolutely heinous liqueur.
You don't know what Mad Dog 2020 is?
It's hangover in a
I
bottle.
drink the finer things, Brinson. I drink the finer things.
I only drank that when we were. They used to make us drink that when we were pledging, and I've got some pictures, some actual like photographs of me post Mad Dog 2020 in there.
Oh, okay. I was around for my college era was original Four Loko. So that was my era.
Yeah. I was like about to have a kid when I was chugging Four Loko driving down to bowl games. Anyway, Dominic says my book has Neighbors at 65.5 and Perk at 59.5. Thoughts on Steelers? Steelers to lead at half and full time at evens. I don't know what I'm sure know what this question is. Neighbors, take the over on Neighbors. Just go take the over on Neighbors. All right, let's move along because I have a parlay. I think I'm the only one who has a parlay, right? Do we have my parlay? We do have my parlay. It's not my national tight end day didn't get there, but it got kind of close. We're gonna go 6 legs here. Malik Neighbors has to get 50 receiving yards. George Pickens has to get 50 receiving yards. Najee Harris, 50 rushing yards. Steelers plus 3.5. Russell Wilson, 200 passing yards. And Najee Harris, anytime touchdown, it's 8-1. The only one I think isn't going to happen is Najee Harris. It's like at risk is Najee Harris, anytime touchdown. But I didn't want to sacrifice it down to like 2.5 to 1 or something like that. So 8-1. Najee Harris early touchdown, and this thing is lock it. It's over. We've all had – nobody else has a parlay, right?
No Goose?
No Goose parlay? No. Goose is –
I'm looking forward to being reunited with Goose. I've been staying at the beautiful A Casino Resort and Hotel. I haven't been with Goose nearly as much as I'd like to be. Therefore, we haven't been able to collaborate on a parlay, so – I'll be broadcasting from my new residence very shortly, and I'll be reunited with the Goose Man, and we will be cooking up many a parlays.
Probably contractually obligated to mention the casino, as which I have no problem with. Okay, we've all had our first touchdown bet called back before, and BetMGM is giving you a second chance. With BetMGM's Pro Football Second Chance, place any first touchdown score bet. If your player doesn't score first but scores second, get your entire stake back in cash. No opt-in required. Here's how it works. Place a pregame straight first touchdown score bet in any NFL game. If your player scores the first touchdown of the game, win your wager as normal. If your player scores the second touchdown of the game, you'll get your stake back in cash. It's that simple. Log into BetMGM for more details. We have our first touchdown scores. I think off the top of my head, Proppy the only one with a diamond above his name, which means you go first.
Thank you, Brinson. Yeah, we're going to go with the aforementioned Jaylen Warren, who I love tonight, frankly, because I think, he had probably the shortest odds of any player on the board, and I expect him to be involved early and often. He's a threat to score anytime he touches the football. So we will go Jaylen Warren at 11-1 odds.
Certainly have no problem with that. Ken's off of her tight end era into her quarterback era.
Exactly. We're just moving on. Okay. The tight ends just haven't been doing it for me. So we're going to the aging quarterbacks that just want to prove a little bit that they're still awesome. I'm going to go with Russ here to get in the end zone. Already talked about it. I like his anytime touchdown. Might as well just take it for the first. Talking about a vulnerable Giants rush D. This could be an awesome home game for him.
And Danny, going right back to the well, the potential. Hey, look, this is actually, I think this is a pretty frisky one. Going back to the defensive well.
You know what time it is. Ken's got her tight end system. She's straight away from it. I need to stick with the defense special teams system. One of them hits, and it pays for all of them, right? Plus 3,000. Let's get a moment from the Giants defense. Let's see if Russell Wilson can come back to earth and maybe make a big mistake. and we can always get a kickoff return or something funky happening on prime time, right? A muffed punt in the end zone, something weird like that. So I'll take another shot. And like I said, one of them hits, I'll be happy for the rest of the season.
I haven't heard Danny talk so positively of the Giants all season. This is very refreshing.
Yeah, and Ken, thank you for saying that, because a lot of people will say, oh, the Yankees are in the World Series tonight. It's such a homer pick. I fade the Giants regularly. It's one of my favorite things to do, and root for a draft pick every year until the franchise changes direction. So this week, I feel good. Thank you, Kens.
Got you, Danny.
I mean, but hey, man, look, let's be real here. You got 2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years, and Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes are around. Life is not that tough. And you got a hat on for a team that's won 27 World Series. Granted, not one since like, I don't know. It's been a while. But
2009. But I'm a lucky guy, Brinson. I'm a lucky guy. I grew up as a kid.
Woe is me. Woe is me. I mean, I grew up with that. Anyway, I'll close it out. I was doing 140 miles per hour down Narrative Street last night. I'm going to stay there, but we're going to drive a little faster and feel comfortable with it because we have a Georgia Bulldog in our corner. Darnell Washington, 40-1, first touchdown. Can't you see? Oh, don't tell me he's an active property. That will break my heart.
He's not.
Okay.
I'm looking at this right now, and I'm disappointed that it's week 8. There's 1 diamond on the board. And I say that as myself only having 1 diamond as well. What's going on? Let's step up collectively here.
Well,
we need more than 1 diamond in week 8. Come on.
I will say, and I want to get a record of how many of these touchdowns have been under 10-1 this season. Like, it has been an obscene
everyone. Yep.
And not only that, but it's been the number 1 guy. Sorry, Ken.
Yeah. Because anytime it hasn't been under 10-1, like I feel like someone has hit, and because it's been 5 times, and you and RJ have hit on both of those, so it's just not been fair, guys.
And let's not sleep on the fact that the second show of the season, Friday night, the only Friday night game is the last ever in the NFL. Kens and I both had Jaden Reed of the Packers to score the first touchdown. He scores it, but there's 12 men on the field for both teams, and it gets called back, which is just a preposterous penalty.
I won a massive, massive bet on Saquon having the first touchdown.
That's right. I remember that.
With Derrick Henry, so being the first touchdown scorer. So I hate I was fading
very
that
happy
hard
for
at the moment.
Very happy for you there, Poppy. All right, let's recap this and get out of here. The corporate suits are yelling at me for going too long. Just kidding. Over 30 for me, over 36.5. Najee, we love the corporate suits. Najee Harris, anytime touchdown. Malik Neighbors over 5.5 receptions parlayed with Malik Neighbors to get 50 yards, which again, I'll flambe a Yankees hat if I have to, if that loses. And he gets 6 catches.
Flambe a Dodgers hat. That's what we'll flambe.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, I mean, Freddie Freeman jersey. What do you need? Darnell, I love Freddie Freeman. Darnell Washington, first touchdown, 40-1. Danny's on Giants +6. Giants money line sprinkle, and the first half under. Proppy is on Jalen Warren over 51.5 rushing plus receiving yards. Jalen Warren first touchdown, and Danny, by the way, also has Giants first touchdown scorer. Ken's on Najee Harris over 62.5 rush yards, and Russell Wilson first touchdown. All right. That's going to do it for us. Game kicks off shortly. Expect some fireworks and what might be a surprisingly high-scoring game. Somebody's getting diamond hands. Maybe it's Proppy for a second time. For Kens, for Danny, for Proppy, I'm Brinson. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys later.